Check, 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 check. That's all. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grayslake North High School. I'm your host, Dane Massey, hosting this wonderful matchup as the Crosstown Classic is renewed as the Grayslake North Knights take on the Grayslake Central Rams in this Crosstown Classic. The last time the Knights faced the Rams, they ended up losing by 51 to 49, as the North looks to get revenge on the Rams and looks to improve to 8-13 on the year with their star, Ryan Conley, being hurt with a knee injury. Tip-off is coming in just a minute after these pregame rituals. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of Knights Basketball, this Crosstown Classic. As tip-off is ready to begin, the story surrounding the basketball team is their starter, Joe Swanson. One of their stars this year is out with a knee injury, probably out for the season. And also Dominic Janikowski making his first varsity lineup debut. As we've seen, he's been a starter on the varsity lineup as a freshman. As Central looks to tip it off. As Thomas and now Donahue, Jason Donahue, one of the few seniors starting. Now Thomas, as Coleman will kick it over with a drive by Central, and they get their first points on the board. Daniel Rogers, the senior. Here's Jamon Thomas. Will pass it over to Janikowski. It'll be thrown over to Central fans, as it'll be thrown over to Thomas. Thomas double teamed, almost tripped up. Be given over to Donahue, back to Thomas. And it'll be given back over to Donahue. Donahue looks to find a nice defense here by Central, as they'll kick it over to Janikowski and back to Swanson. Be flipped over to Jamon Thomas. As Thomas looks to drive, he'll put up a 2, and that'll be short. It'll be rebounded by Central, rebounded by Bolins. It'll be thrown over to Dylan Dumanlang. As Dumanlang kicks it over to Daniel Rogers, and then it'll be thrown back over to Ethan Bolins. It'll be passed inside to Daniel Rogers with the layup. It'll be no good. Rebounded by Tony Hines. And a 3-on-2 the other way, passed over to Janikowski with a spin and loses it. Thomas puts up a 2, and that will be no good. Rebounded by, it's a scramble for it, and it'll be rebounded by Central. Is it a scramble for it? It'll be a jump ball, and it will be a jump ball. It looked like Thomas and Dumanlang, as Knights will get the ball back. Thomas on the inbound. Passed over to Janikowski as this freshman gets his first points. And Janikowski, the freshman, gets the Knights their first points on the board. So we are tied at 2 with 6 minutes to go, as Dumanlang will throw it over to Bolins. As Dolwyn will pass it over to Hardy. They'll be thrown over to Rogers once again. Back to Bolins. And Bolins. It'll be thrown over. It'll be thrown overhead for Thomas. And Thomas will have to recover, as they'll settle. Hines will kick it over to Donahue. Donahue is double teamed. It'll be thrown back over to Thomas, as they will look to reset. It'll be thrown over to Joe Swanson, the senior, also a football player. Back over to Donahue. It'll be thrown back over to Donahue. Now to Janikowski. And Janikowski for 3, and that will be short. Rebounded by Dumanlang. And Dumanlang will come back the other way. Guarded by Thomas. It'll be thrown over to Coleman. There's a nice drive there by Dumanlang. It'll be blocked by Thomas. And then it'll be stripped away. And it won't be out of bounds. And Dumanlang looking to drive to the basket. He'll lose it. It'll be stripped away, as Hines will get the steal. And here come the Knights the other way, as Hines looks to drive, and it'll be no good. Rebounded by Central. Great defense there by Mari Coleman. As Dylan Dumanlang looks to come back the other way, we are still tied at 2 with less than 5 to go. And we throw it over to Grant Hardy. It's a nice pass inside, and he'll throw it away. It'll be tipped off at Swanson, but it will remain Central ball. As Ethan Bolins, the inbound, the senior. It'll be thrown over to Grant Hardy. It'll be kicked back out to Daniel Rogers. Now thrown over to Ethan Bolins, and Bolins puts up a shot. That'll go no good. Rebounded by Dominic Janikowski. And here come the Knights the other way. As Janikowski, a move, nice move there. It'll be stolen by Dumanlang. And here's a fast break the other way. And Dumanlang will get the points to get Central out front by 2. It'll be 4 minutes left to play. Thomas comes back the other way, passed over to Donahue. As a double team here by Central. It's been really effective. It'll be passed over to Hines. Now back to Janikowski. They'll be thrown over to Thomas in the double team, and as looks like Janikowski could not get it, it'll be passed over, and it'll be out of bounds, but we'll go back the other way, Central ball. It'll be Kobe Blissett checking in. Kobe Blissett checking in. As Rogers will be thrown over to Hardy now. Some nice defense as Bolins guarded by Donahue. Some nice defense there by Donahue, thrown inside to Hardy, guarded by Blissett. As Hardy will put up a basket, and that's good. As Grant Hardy. Then Thomas will take it back the other way as Dumoulin is to guard Thomas. Be thrown over to Kobe Brissett. And it'll be thrown up a three by Janikowski. It'll be rebounded by Tony Hines. It'll be thrown back out to Thomas. Thomas being the point. It'll be thrown over to Blissett. Thrown over to Donahue, shoots for three. That's no good. It'll be rebounded by Hardy. And Central comes back the other way as Dumoulin. There's Dumoulin. Nice defense there by Thomas. It'll be Daniel Rogers. Be thrown over to Mari Coleman. As Dumoulin, as Donahue guarded Dumoulin. And a timeout will be called by Central. As we will take a break here, it's still anyone's game, 6-4. Central leads a strong for first performance by Central. We'll be back from the timeout as Dumoulin the inbound. Be thrown over to Hardy. It'll be passed back to Dumoulin. As it'll be Mari Coleman. Looks to drive on Hines. As we still have a 6-2 ball game with just under 2 minutes to go here in the first quarter. As Dumoulin on Thomas. Passed over to Mari Coleman as Hardy looks to post up on Blissett. As Hardy looks to make a move, it'll be thrown over to Bowman. As Dumoulin looks to be switched up there. As Dumoulin will drive in. An offensive foul will be called against Dumoulin. It'll go back the other way. As Thomas is inbound. It'll be thrown over to Janikowski. Now will be thrown over to Hines. It'll be thrown back to Hines at a pass from Thomas. It'll be trying to throw it inside, and it will go off a North Central ball. As Dumoulin to inbound. As Dumoulin looks to drive on Thomas. As Dumoulin puts up a three, that's no good. Be rebounded as a 3-on-1 the other way. There goes Hines to drive, and it will be good. As Hines gets his first points of the game. As Coleman looks to drive on Hines. It'll be passed over to Dumoulin, spins, gets away, he'll get inside. A foul, and will be no good. And looks like Dumoulin will go to the line to shoot two. As Kobe Blissett will draw his first foul of the day. As Jeremy Rauter and Joe Swanson to check into the game. As Donahue and Bissett will check out, and Swanson and Rauter come into the game. And checking in for the Rams will be Griffin O'Gordon. As Dumoulin will make that free throw. We're just under a minute to go. The Knights down by 3, 7-4. As Thomas looks like Swanson looks to inbound. They're thrown over to Swanson. As Griffin O'Gordon will check into the game for the Rams. And it looks like the Knights will try to take it. It'll be thrown over to Thomas. Thrown back over to Janikowski, who's been the talk of this Knights team, who stepped up for Ryan Conley, who's been hurt with a knee injury. Be thrown over to Jamon Thomas. I think the Knights really trying to take time off the clock here, take it to the second quarter, as it'll be flipped over to Swanson. As the 10 seconds remaining on the clock, as Thomas looks to drive. As Thomas will get one, and it would no good. Rebounded by Central. As 1 second left, he'll throw it the other way, and that will be no good. And the score of the first quarter at the end of one is Central 7, Grayslake North 4. As we will take a timeout here, Grayslake North 4, Grayslake Central 7. Welcome you back to the second quarter of play as Central inbound to start the quarter. As Tyler Tiffany will check into the game along with we passed over to Mari Coleman. As Tony Hines will be thrown over to Ethan Bolins. Be thrown back over to Tiffany. Be thrown over to Mari Coleman, who puts up a two. That'll be short. Rebounded by O'Malley. It'll be stolen by Thomas. And it will be picked up by Hines. As Hines looks to be stolen. Loose ball, and it will be Central ball. And it will go. Timeout will be called by Central. With just 7:30, just 30 seconds into this quarter. And a timeout was called by Central. 7-4 as we come back from the timeout. Welcome back from the timeout as Coleman inbound. As the Central Rams lead 7-4 as they jumped off to an early 2-0 start. As Rauter looks to guard Hardy. As Grant Hardy in a drive, and what a block by Hines. Here come the Knights the other way. It'll be blocked by And it'll be thrown over as Hardy will get the steal. As Colin O'Malley, as Griffin O'Gordon, and it'll be thrown over to Hardy. And Hardy with the rebound and gets it to go. As Grant Hardy has got 4 points for the Rams here, as it is now 9-4. As Janikowski be thrown over to Hines. As Hines looks to drive, will be thrown over to Swanson. Be thrown back out to Jeremy Rauder, and it'll be thrown back over to Javon Thomas. As Thomas looks to drive on Coleman, be thrown up to the point to Tony Hines. As be thrown back to Janikowski, be thrown back to Rauder. And a lot of football stars here on this night's basketball team, as Rauder and Swanson happen to be one of them, along with Tony Hines. It'll be thrown back out to Hines. As Hines looks to try to make a move. Thrown over Janikowski, fires for three, and that will go off the mark. Rebounded by Coleman. As Mari Coleman, screened by Hardy, be thrown over to Bolins. It'll be thrown over to O'Gordon. Now back over to Tiffany. Be thrown over Hardy, a high pass. And it will be stepped out of, but Hardy will go over and back, and it will be Knight's ball going back the other way. As Dylan Dumenlang will check back into the game. As Rauder to inbound. It'll be thrown over to Thomas. As Colby Blissett and Jason Donahue look to also go to the scores table. As Janikowski look to drive there. It'll be thrown back over to Swanson. Now back over to Tony Hines. Hines will shoot a three. That's off the mark. Rebounded by Rauder, who will try to take it out. It'll be thrown over to, now it'll be thrown over to Swanson. As Swanson tries to drive inside. Nice double team there by Central. As Janikowski fires a three. That's off the mark. Rebounded by, and it'll be blocked by Central. Rebounded by Hines. As Hardy with the block. As Thomas step back. As Janikowski looks to drive now. He'll put up one, and that's good. The freshman's got 4 points tonight. As here comes Dylan Dumenlang the other way. Dumenlang makes a nice move, but loses the ball, and it will remain Central ball. As Colby Blissett will check into the game for Joe Swanson, and Jason Donahue will check in for Jeremy Rauder. As it'll be Rogers to inbound, a high pass, and it'll be a foul called. It'll be a foul called on Thomas. A controversial call there as Grunlow wanted the call. As Grunlow wanted no call there. As Dumenlang will be guarded by Thomas. As Dumenlang stolen by Blissett. And it will be a travel call against Blissett. And it will go back the other way. They're checking in for Central. It will be Bolins. It'll be Ethan Bolins checking in for Central. As it'll be stolen, a foul will be called against Hines. A recent foul there by Tony Hines. He's got his first foul. Inbounded by Rogers, thrown into Dumenlang. It'll be thrown back over to Daniel Rogers. It'll be thrown back over to Dumenlang. As Dumenlang wanted the call there. As was set, it'll be no foul, and it will go a charge call against Central. And it will go a charge call against Central, against Dumenlang. That'll be Dumenlang's second foul of the game, and it will go Knights ball the other way. As Jason Donahue looks to throw it back over to Blissett. He'll throw it back out to Donahue and be thrown over to Thomas. As Janikowski looks for a switch here. As Janikowski will get it now. As Janikowski flips, nice little weird pass there by Janikowski. Barely out of the reach of Donahue. Gordon playing some nice defense as be thrown back out to Thomas. As Thomas looks to drive, thrown back out to Janikowski. As Janikowski looks to flip it back out to Blissett, who fires a three. That's going to be off the mark. It'll be rebounded by Mari Coleman. And it'll be coming back the other way by Central. As Daniel Rogers will now flip it over to Hardy. It'll be thrown over to O'Gordon. As O'Gordon looks to drive on Donahue. As he'll get tripped up as Hardy goes in and will draw the foul. It'll be a charge call against Hardy. And it will go back the other way, Knights ball. As Grant Hardy draws his first foul of the game. As Janikowski to inbound, will be thrown over to Thomas. A 3-point game as Central leads 9-6. Be thrown over to Kobe Blissett. Be thrown back to Janikowski. Janikowski with the fire three there. It'll be tossed up by Janikowski, who's way off the mark. Blissett the rebound. It'll be blocked by Hardy, and it will be Knights ball still. Nice block there by Grant Hardy, the senior. As Thomas with the float up to Janikowski. And Janikowski kicks it back to Donahue. Donahue looks to drive, puts up a two, and that's good. And it is only a 1-point game as Central leads 9-8 with 2:40 remaining in the half. Mari Coleman will come back the other way, guarded by Tony Hines. The second be thrown over to Bolins. Now be thrown over to Dumenlang as Bolins will kick it back now, guarded by Janikowski. Nice move there by Mari Coleman as Hardy looked to drive there. It'll be thrown back out to Gordon in the paint. It'll be a foul called against Blissett. It'll be a foul called against Blissett as Grant Hardy will go to the line to shoot two to make it a 3-point game once again. The first one is good. Jamie Ryder will check in for Blissett. And Zoel Martinez will also check in for the Rams. As Hardy will make the next one. It's back to a 3-point game as Hardy's got 6. It'll be thrown over to Janikowski. And Janikowski thrown over to Hines. It'll be tipped and it will be almost an over-back, just saved there by Janikowski. Be thrown over to Donahue. Nice defense there as Donahue puts up a 2, and that's good. As Jason Donahue's got 4, and it's only back to a 1-point game as Central leads 11-10. Just 1:40 remaining in the half. As Mari looks to drive, they'll kick it back out to Bowens. It'll be Mari Coleman for 3, and that's off the mark. It'll be rebounded by Router. Thrown ahead to Donahue, as Donahue looks to drive to get North the lead, and it will be no foul called on a charge, as Donahue is slow to get up, as it'll be almost to be thrown out of bounds, as Mari Coleman threw it out of bounds, and will come back. It will come back as North ball, as Jason Donahue looks slow to get up there after that drive. Thomas will kick it back over to Janikowski. It's only a 1-point game as Thomas looks to make a move. Nice move there by Thomas. He'll put up a 2, and that'll be short. Rebounded by Rogers. As Mari Coleman will throw it over. It'll be back to Mari Coleman, guarded by Tony Hines. And that will be short. It will be airballed by Zoel Martinez. It'll be airballed by Zoel Martinez. As North will get the ball back with just under 40 seconds to go. as North looks to get their first lead of the game here. As it'll be kicked over to Donahue. As Donahue looks to make a move on Martinez. Be thrown over to Janikowski with just under 30 to go. It'll be Jeremy Rauter be thrown back over to Tony Hines. Now will be thrown over to Thomas. Nice defense here by Central as it is kicked over to Tony Hines with just under 20 to go. As Janikowski. As North really wants to get the lead here with just under 10 to go. As Donahue looks to give North the lead, it'll be tipped up, and it will be Central ball. And a nice throw up there by Coleman, and that will go no good. And that's going to be in the half. The score, 11-10, Central lead. A huge comeback here by North as North looks to take the lead at the half. 11-10, halftime. Welcome you back from the halftime show as the Rams lead by 1, 11 to 10. As we look to begin the second half of play, the leading scores for Central. Grant Hardy has been playing well on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Really well defensively overall for Central, as North has not really been able to drive in on them as they used to be in the past. I think that's a really good flaw for them, as North will get the ball to start this second half, as Donahue and Janikowski combined for a total of 8 points. Both have 4 points, as Donahue will kick it over to Hines. It'll be thrown over to Swanson. Swanson fires for 3, and that'll be off the mark. And it'll be going back North ball, as it'll be off of Mari Coleman. As we begin the second half of play, off to a very promising start, as North has done a nice job of rebounding. I think that's been their problem in the first half, was getting rebounds and trying to score. As it'll be thrown away by Janikowski, and it will go back Central ball. As Daniel Rogers looks to inbound and be thrown in to Dylan Dumenlang. And it'll be thrown over to Bolins. As Bolins guarded by Donnie, will be thrown over to Mari Coleman. And now over to their leading scorer, Grant Hardy. Now will be thrown over to Daniel Rogers, thrown back for Hardy, as Hardy puts up a 2. That won't go. Rebounded by Joe Swanson. As here come the Knights the other way with Jamon Thomas. Thrown over to Janikowski, who fires a 3. Bang! And the Knights have their first lead of the game, 13-11. As Dumenlang looks to drive on North, as Dumenlang fires one, that'll go no good. Rebounded by Hines. It'll be thrown over to Donahue. As Donahue looks to drive, and it'll be gone a foul. And a foul will be drawn on Donahue, as Donahue will go to the line and shoot 2. A very strong start in this third quarter for the Knights as they take the lead by 2, 13-11. As Donahue looks to go to the line to try to make it a 3-point game. First one will be good. His first free throw will be good as Donahue has got 5. Donahue's got 5. As it'll be rebounded by Dumenlang. As it'll be thrown over to Bolins and Mari. And Mari Coleman was thrown over to Grant Hardy. And as Dumenlang will shoot for 3, that'll go off. Rebounded by Janikowski. Got the nice the other way. Thrown ahead for Thomas, who throws up a layup. That good. Rebounded by Swanson. That's no good. Rebounded as Janikowski fires another 3. That's good. As Dominic Janikowski's got 10. What a roll here by the Knights. 9-0 run as we thrown ahead for Hardy, as Grant Hardy gets to go for 2. And it's a 5-point gain, 18-13 Knights lead as Hardy's got 8. As Jamon Thomas will throw it over to Jason Donahue. Donahue will get double teamed as Hines will also be double teamed. Inside for Jamon Thomas, who gets it to go. As Jamon Thomas gets his first points of the game. 2013 game as that'll be thrown up. As Dumenlang recovers, thrown over to Mari Coleman. As Coleman drives inside, it'll be blocked. Rebounded by Hardy, and a foul will go on Hines. As Hines will pick up his second foul of the game. And Grant Hardy, their leading scorer, will shoot 2. As Hardy will miss the first one. As Hardy will make the second one. As Thomas We'll kick it over to Janikowski. Janikowski will now throw it over to Hines. I think the Knights are doing a really nice job so far of really splitting that double team. As it'll be thrown back over to Swanson. It'll be thrown back out to Donahue. And Janikowski on the inside. And Janikowski scores inside. He'll get it to go, and Janikowski's got 12. As Dumoulin will try to recover. And then it'll be a strip ball. Janikowski, and there will be a foul called on Bolin. And it will be Knights ball going back the other way. As Thomas will check it in, looks like Dumoulin got a little bloody nose there. It'll be thrown back out to Donahue, and what a block by Hardy! A great block there by Grant Hardy. As the Knights will get the ball back. With under 4:30 remaining in the quarter, the Knights lead 22-14 as it'll be thrown over to Janikowski, who drives in. Janikowski will get a foul. And Janikowski will go to the line. And the foul will go against Ethan Bolins. Janikowski will make the first free throw as he's got 15. As he's got Janikowski's got 13. As Ryder will check into the game for Swanson. As Janikowski's got 14. As Coleman will throw it over to Hardy, and a foul will be called, and there'll be no basket called, as it will be Central ball. And the foul will actually go against Jeremy Router. There will be no basket, as Central will also get the ball back. It'll be thrown over to Hardy, kick back out to Mari Coleman. Coleman will pass it inside to Hardy. And kick back out to Bolins. And throw back out to Hardy. Hardy double team. He'll get it to go, and one. Grant Hardy has 11. As the Knights lead was at double digits at 10. As Grant misses the free throw, and it'll be rebounded by Thomas. And it will come back the other way as we are halfway through this quarter. 24-16, Knights lead on a huge run to start this quarter. As Thomas looks to drive, looks to try to work on that double team. As Janikowski will pass it over to Hines. A nice move there as Router looked to shoot that three there. As it'll be kicked back inside to Hines. It'll be flipped up. As it'll be Thomas. As Thomas, we kick it back out to Router. It'll be thrown back over to Donahue. And now to Hines, and it'll be thrown back to Thomas. As Thomas with the drive inside, as he'll get tripped up, and it will go Central ball. As Mari Coleman on the inbound will be passed over to Grant Hardy. It'll be passed over to Coleman as Coleman shoots a three, and that'll be airballed, and it will go out of bounds. As Colby Brissett would check into the game for the Knights. As Dylan Dumoulin, after having a nosebleed, will come back into the game as Thomas the inbound. This will be flipped over to Blissett. Janikowski on the drive. He'll get it to go. That'll be no good. And it'll be off Central and will be made North ball. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the quarter. The score 24-16. North leads as Thomas will throw it up to Tynes. It'll be flipped back to Donnie, now over to Jamon Thomas. And they'll be thrown over to Janikowski. A steal by Daniel Rogers. As Rogers, what a block by Hines! What a block by Tony Hines. And it will remain Central ball. As they'll be thrown over to Grant Hardy, as he'll kick it out to Mari Coleman, as Coleman will fire a three. That's no good. It'll be rebounded by Janikowski, who comes back the other way. As Janikowski goes to kick it back out, and there will be a timeout called by North. And there will be a timeout called by North. Central fans not liking it. And it will be a 24-16 lead as the Knights come rolling back in the third quarter. We welcome you back to the timeout. As it'll be Janikowski who'll be thrown in to Donahue. As we pitch back out to Janikowski, who fires a three. That'll be airballed. Be rebounded by, and it will be rebounded by Donahue, and it'll try to be kicked back out, try to go off at Coleman. That's Griffin O'Gordon will check into the game. As Mari Coleman. 2 minutes remaining here in the third. As Coleman, and will try to get it out of bounds, and it will go North ball. As Thomas looks to drive on Dumanlang, be kicked over to Blissett, guarded by Hardy. Be thrown back over to Dunny, now over to Hines, and now over to Thomas. Be thrown over to Colby Blissett, now back over to Dominic Janikowski. This will be flipped over to Jamon Thomas. As Blissett looks to drive on Dumanlang, now will be passed over to Donahue. Nice defense here by Central as Janikowski looks to drive. Will draw the foul and will not get an and one. And it will be a charge call against Janikowski. And it will come back the other way. As Mari Coleman, as Dumanlang will throw it back over to Hardy. As Coleman, guarded by Hines, as Coleman looks to drive, kick it back out to Bowens. Bowens for three, that's no good. Rebounded by Janikowski under a minute to go. 24-16 lead. Thrown over to Thomas, as Thomas looked to almost shoot a three there. As the Knights look to reset. As Thomas looks to drive, kicked over to Janikowski, who fires a three. Bang! And Janikowski's got 17. 35 seconds remaining, and the Knights' lead is 11. and the largest lead of the night for North. As Coleman looks to drive, blocked by Hines, and it will remain Central ball with under 30 to go. As Coleman will flip it over to Hardy. Hardy looks to drive, and he will not get it to go. Rebounded by Hardy again, and he will get it to go. As it'll be flipped over to Thomas, and the lead is 9 for the Knights as Hardy's got 13. And it'll be thrown over to as Janikowski's three is good at the buzzer. What a shot by Dominic Janikowski, the freshman. And he's got 20. We welcome you back from the quarter break. A turn of events for the Knights as the Knights have had now have a 30 to 18 lead against Central. They came storming back. As a 21 to 8 run in the third quarter, outscoring Central in the third quarter. As Janikowski, a deep three at the buzzer. As Duman-Lang now guarded by Thomas. As we begin the fourth quarter of play, as Central is down big, as it'll be, Gordon for three. That's going to be short, rebounded by Coleman, guarded by Janikowski. Now be triple team as Coleman will get it to go, and it's a 10-point game. As Mari Coleman gets his first points of the night. As it'll be a trip foul by Duman-Lang. And Duman-Lang gets his third foul of the day. Janikowski to him. Thomas against Duman-Lang. Throw it over to Donahue as Blissett looked wide open on the inside. It'll be thrown up as Coleman. As Bolins got the rebound, it'll be thrown over to Duman-Lang. 7 minutes remaining in the game as Duman-Lang looks to drive, and it'll be a charge call against Duman-Lang. And that'll be his fourth foul of the game. As Dylan Duman-Lang gets his fourth foul, and he is frustrated. As Daniel Rogers will check into the game for Central. As North looks to take time off the clock, he'll be flipped over to Janikowski, the triple team. As Thomas will try to drive in, he'll get it to go, and he will, as the shot will count, and he will go to the line to shoot for two. As Thomas gets his first free throw of the game. As Thomas now got three. As Thomas gets it to go. As Coleman. Guarded by Hines. Be thrown over to Bolins. And that'll be thrown over to Tyler Tiffany. Now thrown over to Mari Coleman. And that will go off of Coleman. And it will go North ball. As North Thomas drives, and it'll be a loose ball as Thomas will throw it out of bounds, and it will go back the other way, Central ball. 32-20, a 12-point lead for the Knights in the fourth quarter with 6:24 remaining in the game. As Coleman, steal by Hines, loose ball, and Hines will get it, be thrown, and it will be a timeout called by North. I think Central wanted a travel call against Hines, and it will be a 30-second timeout as North leads 32-20. Welcome you back from the timeout as Swanson to inbound. Be thrown over to Thomas as Coleman. And it'll be poked away by Bolins. Be poked away by Bolins as Swanson to inbound. Jamon Thomas. Now thrown over to Janikowski, who's got 20 points and only one foul. Janikowski looks to pass, and it will be a charge call on Janikowski. And it'll be a charge on Janikowski, his second. Checking in for the Rams is Griffin O'Gordon, who's got 4 for the Rams. As Daniel Rogers, as Grant Hardy, their leading scorer, as Hardy looks to drive, and Hill's shot will be no good. His shot will be no good, and it will go North ball the other way. And it seemed to go off of O'Gordon. And checking in for the Rams is Tyler Tiffany. As we're just under 6 minutes remaining in the game, and it will be a travel call against Janikowski. And checking in for the Rams back again is Griffin O'Gordon. As Coleman gives it to O'Gordon, as Hardy with the slam. Grant Hardy with the slam. It's a 12-point game. As Thomas will give it over to Swanson. As Swanson to drive on O'Gordon, and it'll be go off Janikowski, and it will go back the other way, Central ball. It has. Looking back at some technical difficulties as Swanson goes to the free throw line, and it'll go in and out. And it's only a 10-point game for the Rams as the as North leads 32-22 with just under 5 minutes to go. As Swanson free throw will be no good. It'll be rebounded by Blissett, thrown over, and it'll be picked up by Dumoulin. It'll be double teamed, and it'll be thrown over to Daniel Rogers. And it'll be go back to Dumoulin as Dumoulin looks to drive. He'll make a move. He'll go for two, and that's up and good. As Dumoulin-Lang's got 4 fouls and 5 points for the Rams, as Hardy's got 15. As it'll be a no foul called. Blissett looks to put it back up. It'll be rebounded by Dumoulin, as it'll be a 3-on-1 come back the other way. Thrown over to O'Gordon, and it will go Knights ball off O'Gordon. As Jason Donahue will check back into the game, and Tyler Tiffany will also check back in for the Rams. As 4:20 remaining in the game, 32-24, North leads. As Jamon Thomas will kick it back over to Janikowski, and it'll be kicked over to Blissett, as the double team will come, and it will be off of Central, and it will remain North ball. Janikowski to inbound. It'll be thrown back to Jamon Thomas, as there's 4 minutes remaining in the game. Thomas kicks it out to Blissett, and that shot is blocked, and it will be out, and it will go Central ball. As Swanson will check back into the game for Blissett. As Dumoulin will come back the other way. Dumoulin for two, blocked by Swanson. And here comes Thomas the other way. As Thomas looks to drive, and that's blocked by Hardy. And it will be Central ball. And it will go Central ball, as referees look to talk it over. And it will be reversed the decision to be North ball, as the ball definitely did look like it was off Hardy. As it kicked up to Jamon Thomas. That will be thrown over to Tony Hines, as Hines looked to make a move on Bolins. Big kicked over to Swanson. And now over to Jason Donahue, as Donahue looks to drive on Tiffany. And it'll be thrown over to Hines, as Hines looks to drive. And that'll be blocked and thrown back in to Dumoulin. Here come the Rams the other way, as Dumoulin will throw it over to Hardy, guarded by Swanson. Hardy makes a move, splits the defense, and he will get a foul on Hardy. And the foul will go against Swanson, and it'll be his first. And there will be a timeout on the floor. It'll be a timeout called by North, as North leads 32-24. Just under 3 minutes to play here in the fourth. Looking back from the timeout as Hardy will shoot 2. As there's 3:06 remaining in the fourth, as Hardy will make the first one. And it's a 7-point game for Central. Hardy's got 16. As Hardy will make the second one, 32-26. Central only down by 2 possessions. As it'll be thrown over, and it cost a mistake. Here comes Mari Coleman as North looks to turn it over. And it'll be off the mark, as a foul there will be on Central against Mari Coleman. And that'll be Mari Coleman's, and that'll be Ethan Bowen's 4th foul. As Dominic Janikowski will go to the line. Janikowski will make the first one. Janikowski has got over 20. And Janikowski will miss the next one. A 7-point game for the Knights. As Daniel Rogers will kick it over to Dumoulin. As Coleman is thrown over to Ethan Bowens, who fires a 3. That's off the mark, rebounded by Mari Coleman. Coleman will quadruple team, and it will be a foul drawn against North. And it'll be another foul on Joe Swanson. His second. It'll be 2 shots for Mari Coleman. Massey will make this first one. Let's make it a 6-point game. As Colby Blissett will check in for Joe Swanson. And that shot will be off the mark. Rebounded by Hardy. Puts it back up, and that's good. And it's only a 2-possession game. As it's 33-29 as Central has come storming back. Kicked out for Janikowski for 3. Bang! Janikowski's got 24. It'll be kicked over to Hardy, guided by Bissett, and Hardy gets it good to go. A 36-31 North lead with just under 2 minutes to go. As Donahue looks to get double teamed. He'll be picked up to Janikowski, thrown over to Thomas as Thomas looks to reset. He'll be thrown over to Janikowski. He's got an open layup, and that's good. As Dumoulin likes to drive the other way, there will be a foul called against Thomas. As Dumoulin looks to go and shoot 2. As his shot will be no good, Dumoulin. His free throw will be no good. 38-31, North leads. As Thomas looks to drive on Dumoulin, will be kicked over to Tony Hines. As Donahue will kick it over to Tony Hines, will be kicked over to Blissett. As Blissett will be double teamed, and there will be a timeout called by Grayslake North. 1:08 remaining in the game as North leads 38-31. Welcome you back from the timeout as North leads 38-31. As the Knights just a minute and 8 away from another home win against Central, and retribution for the Knights for losing by 2 to them about a while ago. That's Thomas to inbound to Janikowski. As Janikowski as Thomas, and it will be a foul called against Coleman. Then we just got under a minute to play here, 38-31. North leads as Jamon Thomas will go to the line to shoot for 2. As Thomas will make the first one. That is Dylan Duman-Long. Thomas will make the next one, and it's a 9-point game as it'll be Central ball. As it'll be Coleman. Be thrown up to Hardy, back to Coleman, who fires a 3, and that's good. Timeout called by Central. Welcome you back from the timeout with just under 45 to play as Thomas to inbound. And it'll be a foul called on Coleman. As Jamon Thomas will go to the line to shoot for 2. As Thomas will miss the first one. As they're under 30 to play here in this game as Duman-Lang fires a 3, and that's good. And it is only a 2-possession game. As another timeout will be called by Central. Welcome you back from the timeout. As a huge shot by Dumoulin to make it a 4-point game, only a 2-possession game for the Knights here, as Donahue will kick it back to Janikowski, and a foul will be drawn on Janikowski, as he will go to the line to shoot 2. As Mari Coleman grabs up his 4th foul, with just under 26 to go in the 4th. As Janikowski will go to the line to shoot 2. As Janikowski will make the first one. As Janikowski, he's got 28. As Joe Swanson will check into the game. As this is the final 26 seconds of this game. As Dumoulin will pass it over to Coleman. As Coleman will pass it to Hardy inside, and he gets it to go. Another timeout called by Central. And a full timeout will be called against Grayslake Central. 16 seconds remaining in the 4th. 43-39, North leads. This will be as Central still sees some light in this game. It's only a 4-point game. As Central only leads by 4, and a foul will be drawn against Janikowski by Tyler Tiffany. As Janikowski will go back to the line to shoot 2. As Janikowski will make the first one. As Janikowski is closing in on 30 points. And Janikowski has got 30. A strong performance by the freshman. And it's only 9 seconds remaining. And that shot will be off, rebounded by Hardy. And Thomas takes it back the other way, 2 seconds. And that'll be good. And the Knights secure the victory. The final score, 47-39. A strong performance by the freshman, Dominic Janikowski. This has been GNHS-TV. I am Dane Massey signing off for now. A final of 47-39. North with a victory.